Guys, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back here to another live stream, my friends. I hope everyone is having a great day so far. Glad to have y'all here for another update, my friends. So we do got ourselves a risk here now from the Storm Prediction Center. We're going to go and hop over here in 1 second. But we do got ourselves a risk now from the SPC regarding the threat here for Monday, as we are going to be seeing the possibility out there for some severe weather. But anyways, folks, hope everyone's doing good. Let's see who we got here for today. Just a quick little welcome. First of all, Mark, dude, thank you for the $2, man, at the beginning of the live stream before we started. Big shout out goes to you, Mark. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. You definitely didn't have to do all that, my friend. And, well, just thank you so much. I appreciate it. We have John, we have Azur, we have Emily, we have Mr. Wolf. Let's see here. We got ourselves TRG. We got Aiden or Catman. We got, let's see, iFunny. Black Label, we have Mike, we have, let's see here, Tammy, we have Moon River, and let's see here, everybody else, obviously, hope you're doing good, Forecaster Phase, and everybody else I didn't say welcome to, or like I said, hope you guys are doing good. Glad to have you all here. So, anyways, we do have ourselves a new update here regarding Monday, like I was talking about. The SPC did issue a risk here. Let's go ahead and hop over here to Monday's risk. So we got a large threat for for thunderstorms in general. This covers a really big area. That's the orange that you've seen on my my thumbnail there. That is our thunderstorm threat, in which all of these areas here has the potential on Monday to have a bit of thunderstorms. Now, that does not necessarily mean severe weather. It just means that there's a possibility for a couple thunderstorms out there. So, we'll look out for a few booms. When we look at the models here in a few moments, you're going to see how there is going to be potential for some possibly even strong thunderstorms up further north. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But then they issued a marginal level 1 severe weather threat. So at this point, this is considered a severe thunderstorm risk. Down there in Louisiana, pretty much the entire state of Louisiana come Monday is going to be at risk for severe weather. This also includes portions out there towards the central and western side of Arkansas, southeastern Oklahoma, and eastern Texas. These regions are at risk. Now, there's no breakdown right now regarding the the tornado, the hail, and the damaging wind probabilities. There is no breakdown yet. We'll get more of that information tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll get more information in terms of the breakdowns, and then tomorrow we'll do a bunch of zip code forecasts and stuff like that for you guys. But yeah, so we do have some pretty populated areas included in this risk here, including New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, including Little Rock, Arkansas, and however you say this town, or however you say that city, Metrairie, I think it is, Metrairie. Could be wrong on that, but that's in Louisiana as well. But yeah, most of, like I said, all of Louisiana for the most part, except for a little sliver in the northeast side, but, at that point, it shouldn't even be taken that seriously, is inside the marginal risk here. So we do have ourselves, quite quite a bit. Am I hitting my mic on accident? Well, the hinge is loose. I need to fix it, but I can't right now. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I'm gonna try not to hit it. Anyways, let's see here. But yeah, so like I said, yeah, the severe weather risk here is a level 1 threat as of right now. They did, I think they did mention, yeah, damaging winds and hail. See, large hail and damaging winds will kind of be like the main concern on this event here. I still think, I mean, conditionally, there's a possibility in some areas that we could have more tornadic potential. But yeah, let's just go ahead and hop over the models here. We're gonna pull up NAM first to look at this event here overall. It's obviously good to break down the models and understand what's going on here in the storm system. So first of all, we got ourselves a lot of CAPE. The models have really trended upwards in that. There was a lot of instability. I mean, I'm talking a really big pool of energy for severe weather, or sorry, just thunderstorms, I should say. So the thunderstorm fuel or the thunderstorm juice is there. We have a lot of it. We have a lot of fuel available, especially for those areas out there like Texas and Arkansas and Missouri. We got a lot of available energy here regarding the potential for thunderstorms. So anywhere that's listed or anywhere like in this area, now this is one model's opinion, but there is enough fuel to spark off severe, or sorry, I keep on saying severe weather. Maybe severe weather, actually. There is enough fuel to actually spark off thunderstorms all the way up here towards, like, possibly even as high as, like, Wisconsin and maybe even Michigan. Now, remember, that's just one of the ingredients that's in place. That is just the energy or the fuel that we have available. Our winds is kind of concerning, but honestly, it seems like the models have been trending towards a stronger lower level jet. So basically we have a jet stream in our lower atmosphere, and this will help organize storms to potentially become severe. I think there's a good possibility, especially if trends continue, I think there's a really good possibility that the severe weather risk could shift its way a bit more to the north, possibly out there towards Illinois, Missouri. I think that's a good possibility. Just given the fact that we have a decent abundance of instability throughout our atmosphere, plus with actually a pretty decent lower level jet stream. We're going to grab a sounding. Let's just pull it up here towards like a little southwest of Chicago. Let me remove this here. Now, don't take these soundings or don't freak out of them because they're pretty intimidating looking. So there is one big factor I do see. I see a cap, which that would prevent thunderstorms from going past this level. So basically, a thunderstorm starts with a bunch of warm air that's rising, and once it hits around 2 kilometers, the storm will just stop, or that rising air will just stop, and the storm will die out. So in this environment here, it's not too crazy. But given the wind shear alone, I mean, it definitely could organize some storms. Let me hop back to instability here. We're gonna pick, yeah, because that was in a pretty capped environment. Let's go ahead and pick one out there towards like the border between southwestern Indiana and southeastern Louisiana, or sorry, southeastern Illinois. I've been talking about Louisiana here a bit, so I think that's why. Also, I think the cap could be a bit of an issue. As you can see, there's a big warm layer right here, right around 3 kilometers. That probably could prevent some storms. Also, the winds, the winds throughout the atmosphere is really weak. There is not a lot of wind shear with this storm here, which that in itself is really a limiting factor, I think, regarding the potential for severe weather and stuff like that up in these areas. But we'll see how it goes because even in this environment, there is still the possibility that we could get some organized storms going, especially with the amount of instability that we do have. But once again, for this in particular sounding here, I think that there's going to be a bit of a cap actually in 2 areas. One towards our lower atmosphere, it's going to have that warm air is going to have a bit of a rough ride trying to get through those boundaries in the atmosphere. But say it does break that first area, and it goes up here towards like 3 kilometers. That parcel or the vertical velocity of that warm rising air is going to slow down because it's reaching a warm level in the atmosphere, which is basically slowing down our updraft for our storm. Now, if it was somehow able to pass through 3 kilometers, given the rest of the environment, there's a lot of CAPE, a lot of instability, and say if it was to break through that, it would reach probably right around 11 kilometers high, the thunderstorms, according to the sounding here. So, possible. And also our winds there, though. I mean, they're not very strong, but I think that, you could get an isolated storm that potentially could be severe if everything played out well. So I don't think we're going to have like a big, massive, like really large like outbreak or anything like that. But I do think that there will be some widespread thunderstorms with a isolated chance for some of them being severe up in the northern portions of these areas. I mean, given the fact, I mean, yeah, we do have a lot of instability. Our energy in the atmosphere is there. We have a lot of energy. But what we don't have is a lot of strong winds. And that was kind of our problem we were talking about here yesterday. Now, across this area here, this is right around 4,000 feet up. This is our lower level jet at 850 millibar pressure equivalent, if you guys want to know. And our instability, you can see, I mean, it does overlap the areas here, but most of our energy is further south of the winds. You know, you see what I'm saying? So a lot of our instability is away from those stronger winds, which you need both to really get things going. But yeah, so that's just what this model. Now mid-level winds pretty weak, honestly. And you can see if I overlay those areas here, a lot of our stronger winds is way further to the west here, out there towards like the Central Plains and the upper Midwest, rather than the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. So our winds out in this region here is not going to really be in favor. Now, if our jet stream was positioned further east over that pool of instability, then at that point I think we'd have more of a problem. But in this case, I really don't see a widespread like outbreak or anything like that to occur, but I do see the possibility out there for you know, a lot of potential thunderstorms, and you know, honestly, maybe a couple of them being severe. We're thinking damaging winds and hail is going to be one of the big risks here overall. So at that point, well, like I said, we'll just have to continue watching the models. But that's just one model run, obviously, and we'll continue to watch this. Now, remember, that severe weather threat that the SPC issued is down in some portions of Arkansas and Louisiana. So that is the environment here where we are seeing this. Now, let me go ahead and mention this is going to be happening late Monday. Later on Monday, probably sometime around the late afternoon, evening time. I'm going to go ahead and grab a sounding out there. Now, in this case, there's not much of a cap we were talking about. There's the atmosphere is pretty free to convect, you know, given the fact that we have a pretty good amount of instability throughout our atmosphere. And the EL is our equilibrium level. That is basically the point where an air parcel going from an unstable environment goes into a stable environment. So at this point, this would be right around your top of your thunderstorm, right at this level, the EL. So in this case, pressure equivalents and stuff like that, the altitude would be right around 10, 11 kilometers or so high. But even if, so all of this stuff you don't got to worry about. So don't pay attention up here. But all this down here is important for the environment. Given the fact that right in here, there's our winds across those elevations. And, you know, the winds, they do change directions. We do got that veering wind shear pattern with our lower level winds pointing north. We got those, you know, pretty weak northerlies in our lower atmosphere. And as we climb up into higher elevations, for example, we'll do 6 kilometers here. The wind at this point is moving northeast about 35 miles an hour. So in terms of storms, that's really not that fast. Overall, it's really not too fast. But you know, throughout the atmosphere, you can see that there is that wind direction change, and how we slowly go up in the atmosphere, the winds do change, and overall, it does look like it. You know, especially like thermodynamic wise, in terms of our instability and all that stuff. Yeah, that's definitely there, and we have a pretty good abundance of that overall. But my main concern is just how weak of winds that we have throughout our atmosphere. That will help, will minimize I think the severe weather threat. So in that term, that's good news. That's good news. But I'm not saying that there's going to be no severe weather, which obviously we are expecting severe weather, and that's going to occur. And I'm, like I said, I'm even saying that there could be a possibility of severe weather even up here towards, you know, the northern areas out there in like the western Ohio Valley, upper Midwest. I think it's a good possibility. I do. But it's not going to be widespread outbreak material. It's not going to be like, you know, like the last event we had. I don't think it's going to be nearly that strong. But, you know, unless things do trend differently, that could definitely be a changing factor. But let me go ahead and bring up the wrap. Now, this model doesn't go as far. It's just starting to get into the activity as the model run ends here. But there is a lot of instability available, and that's one thing I did want to point out between the models, is that they are definitely agreeing on the potential out there for enough instability to allow for some, you know, strong to potentially severe storms to occur here overall. Let me go ahead and get rid of my Discord notification sound. So yeah, that is definitely a possibility overall. And let's see the wind shear on this in particular model. We do have a small jet stream, a small lower level jet stream, which we got some northerly, northeasterlies, but like I said, the winds aren't that strong. They're pretty weak, and we do need a lot of stronger winds in order to allow for the storms to organize very well and stuff like that. So, anyways, let's see. What's up, Sam? I hope you're doing good, man. Glad to have you here. So I thought that was mine. Yeah, it was on my background of this computer here. I have it shut down. It's just it still plays that notification for some reason. But I deafened the desktop audio, so if it happens again, you won't hear it. Oh man. What about for Illinois? So we did have a couple of people in Illinois here that's wanting to know the overall view. So for Illinois, we have our strong low, so our low pressure system is well up here in Canada. So that's the engine per se. And for Illinois, you know, given the time of whenever that instability will become most widespread and most available, that will be happening once again for late Monday. And across the region here, yes, we do have enough instability to allow for storms to fire off and enough for severe weather to occur. But our wind shear, Illinois is actually in one of the strongest wind shear to instability ratios. You really want to throw a lot of you want to throw a lot of strong winds with a lot of instability to get something really going. And you're in the area with the strongest winds at our lower atmosphere. And with, I wouldn't say the highest instability, that's more to your southwest, but definitely enough instability to get storms going. So given that you're in that nice mixing area, I think there could be some strong to severe storms. I think they're going to upgrade that. I think they're going to, expand that further up north than where they have it now. I think that's a good possibility. In our lower atmosphere, we do have enough, moisture. We have upper 50s, lower 60 dew points, which is enough to get things going regarding moisture and all that stuff in our lower atmosphere. But whenever it comes to it, man, that everything's lining up for the most part. But our mid-level winds is one of my main factors that I'm not really happy with here. In our mid-level atmosphere, around 18,000 feet or so. These winds are moving about like 40 knots at best. So really not going to do too much to organize those storms very efficiently. But yeah, I mean, given instability, our moisture supply, that's definitely in place, but it's just our winds, man. Lower level jet, okay. Honestly, at this level of the atmosphere, this is really the only good level of the atmosphere that's performing. So typically in a severe weather event, you want your winds to increase in speed as you go up higher in elevations. And in this case, we're seeing the winds slightly increase as we go, up a little bit, but then they decrease from there on out to where it's not as strong as it needs to be. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, bottom line is, guys, for these regions here, I think there's going to be enough energy for severe weather. Just the winds are not quite there per se, but anyways, yeah. Let's see here. Gotcha, Tori. Well, welcome. Hope you're doing good. Still seeing on the NWS model for day 3 on Arkansas. Do you think that Monday will go further north? Do I think that we'll go further north by Monday? Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about is, given the fact that our strongest wind shear and our quote-unquote lower level jet here, as well as our instability, the best mixing ratio between our energy in the atmosphere and our wind shear will be across, some of these areas, which the current risk is in further areas to the south, like Louisiana, portions of Arkansas, some of those regions roughly. Which I do think a northeast expansion seems to be pretty, pretty possible. So with all that being said, we'll have to see how they update that. Now, currently, right now, like I said, we'll hop over back to the SPC. This was their current risk. They had the thunderstorm risk going all the way up here to Canada even. So, I mean, obviously they can't go into Canada, but you can see the cutoff is right at Canada, which it would continue a bit. That's just given the fact that we're going to have instability and enough energy for severe storms and thunderstorms in general to reach up places pretty high, like Wisconsin and even Michigan potentially. But the winds, we have a decent, I wouldn't say really anything crazy, a decent lower level jet across some of these areas here, more specifically Illinois and Indiana. We have a decent lower level jet in some of these regions here, like 30 plus knots, which could get things going, but our mid-levels across, mid-level winds in this area is pretty weak, but over here it's pretty strong. So, like I said, if that jet stream was positioned more eastward, we would have more organized severe weather. But right now, there's just pretty weak mid-level winds, which is, actually kind of hurting that probability. But honestly, my opinion is I think they're going to take that marginal, and I think they'll probably extend it maybe a little bit to the north here. Obviously, once again, I'm not the SPC, but, I think that a northerly expansion seems to be pretty possible. But we'll see. Let's see here. Want thunderstorms, not tornadoes. Yeah, I hear you, man. That's me too. I don't want no naders. But right now, I don't think there's going to be that big of a threat for tornadoes. Just given the fact that our wind shear is not the best. Once again, I think the main threat is actually probably going to be damaging winds. Main threat is going to be damaging winds because, with our thermodynamics, even a very low, very weak, a very weak wind shear environment with pretty good instability can cause still a lot of damaging wind gusts to potentially occur. Which I think that's going to be mostly our main concern. Hail is our second concern. The SPC, they did mention that hail would be a possibility too. Let's see here. Yeah, so you can see right there, long photograph will promote large hail and strongest storms, as well as damaging winds may also occur. Storm eventually may encounter drier area to east and weaken. So, yeah, that does seem to be the main threats. Now, tornado probability, like I said, I don't see too much of a tornado concern right now. Once again, just given the fact that our winds, once again, we have a lot of instability. This is our mixed layer instability. Pretty good amount of instability, actually. Like I said, a pretty good amount. Our lower level jet stream is, I would say, decent across the these regions, but once we hop our way over to our mid-level winds, it's just kind of offset. While all the instability is over in these regions here, our strongest winds are over here. So, kind of a bit of a thing that's going to really limit how these storms react. What day is the event? Monday. Yep. So right now it's a day 3 outlook that we just looked at. So it's 3 days. So today's day 1, tomorrow's day 2, and then of course Monday's day 3. This is our day 3 outlook. Considering that we're 3 days away practically from this event. Now tomorrow it'll bring it to our day 2 outlook, which you can see on the day 2 outlook they have a breakdown. So tomorrow we'll have a breakdown on the probabilities. I don't think, like I said, if anything, we're going to get a very marginal tornado threat. I think it's going to be probably pretty marginal for wind and hail too. But we'll see. Let's see here. No, this is Monday. Games. Yeah, it's Monday. Red flag warning. Now we're going to Illinois. Why is that? Typically fire conditions consist of pretty dry air, low humidity, and let's see, relative humidity. Yeah, pretty low humidity, as well as strong winds. That's fire weather. Strong winds and low humidity, which you can see across like the Texas Panhandle and stuff. How we have really low humidity out in these regions. This is actually right around now, actually. A little actually before now. Let's see here. Oh, there you go. So we're kind of right in this point at this time. But yeah, pretty dry atmosphere across the west per se right now. Lower humidity out there towards the Midwest. The Southwest is what I was talking about with a lot of the dry humidity. And on top of that, let's see here. Do we have winds? I don't think we have winds here, but there is a little bit windy in some of these spots here, especially with that storm that's impacting the west right now. Let me actually bring up the hazards and stuff. Which, yeah, you can see that we have a lot of red flag warnings across that low humidity area. It is still somewhat low humidity across those regions as well. But like I said, the winds are pretty strong in some of those regions too, which is, fueling that fire weather. Let's see here. Did I know the Euro has a long-range model called the ECAIFS? I didn't know it was called that, April, but I did see that recently some websites did update to a higher resolution ECMWF. For example, there you go. There it is right there. AFI. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, so the resolution got better on it from 0.40 to 0.25 degrees. That's big improvement. Yeah, I think that's got to be new. That's got to be something they just did. But yeah, no, I was actually looking at that here. Let me pull up the Euro, and you can actually see how it definitely looks a lot more higher resolution overall, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice, but let's see here. Do they include... They don't have thermo on that. Let's see. Does this program... We'll use ECMWF here. We'll go to forecast loop. Yeah, so let's just look at the Euro for a moment, because we didn't look at that one too much in this live stream. Let's go to severe weather and CAPE here. So, like I said, our instability is not a problem between all the models. I mean, they all do show a pretty good amount of instability available throughout our atmosphere. With our heaviest instability, of course, being down towards the south in the Midwest. You know, these areas here is kind of in the heavy CAPE zone, we call it, or CAPE, which is convective available potential energy. This is our highest instability potential zone, for thunderstorms. And so that's forecast hour 51. So if we hop to our lower level 1, or lower level jets here, you can see that, yeah, our winds are not very strong in our lower level jet at this hour. So, and you can actually see that our strongest jet, the strongest winds are up here in this area rather than down here. So our strongest energy for storms is down here. Our strongest winds for storms is up here. So, there's going to be a little gap here, which that kind of goes across like the Missouri area and stuff like that, where I think the heaviest of this event could play out. Let's see here. Let's go and pull up our mid-level winds here overall. Forecast hour 51. Bring that down. So yeah, in this case as well, I mean, you can see our mid-level jet stream, is positioned well further west of the, of all of that going on there. So there's obviously a bit of a, alignment issue with this storm here. That's kind of the problem. Is we have the energy. We have a lot of energy. You have a lot of energy for the storms. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if we had stronger wind shear, this could go a pretty long ways. But in the fact here that our jet stream is way further to the west here, and our instability is further down here, and our lower level jet is over in this area, everything's kind of offset a bit. So it's not quite in line with the storm here. Which that's good news. That's actually really good news, meaning that the storm here is probably not going to be like anything widespread severe. Definitely not an outbreak or anything like that. So if you hear people saying that there's going to be an outbreak or anything, something like that, no, it's not right. But, when it comes to it, I mean, I think we could have some localized areas here of some severe weather. Am I thinking the St. Louis area? Well, so the St. Louis area is in one of those zones we were just talking about, how, you have your strongest instability meeting your, stronger wind shear. And it turns out that St. Louis will probably be somewhere in that zone. Let me grab a sounding here across St. Louis. This will probably be pretty, yeah. Well, instability is pretty weak on that sounding there, but our wind shear is also very weak. So I wouldn't see too much in that environment per se. Let me hop back to CAPE so I can kind of see where our energy is at here in this case. Which it does look like St. Louis, I mean, sometime late Monday into early Tuesday. Could be enough instability here. Yeah, so in this environment, I do see the possibility of, stray severe thunderstorm happening, but it would probably be pretty marginal, considering the fact that, once again, we have enough instability, a pretty dry atmosphere too, which is pretty good for, for storms and stuff, but or mid-level, I should say. Lower levels, it's different. We actually have a pretty low, our dew points are pretty low, but they should still theoretically work. But really the main limiting factor here is our winds throughout our atmosphere. I mean, we go from winds like relatively northeasterlies at about 30 miles an hour. And, honestly, throughout a lot of the atmosphere, the winds remain anywhere from 25 to 30 knots throughout the entire atmosphere here, which you know, below the EL, or the equilibrium level, which is really the winds that matter. These ones up here don't matter too much, because these ones are directly involved in the storm. But yeah, I mean, it is, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's pretty limiting, honestly. But we'll see. We'll just have to see. Do I think Indiana could see tornadoes on Monday or Tuesday? Honestly, probably not. And if we did have any, it would be weak tornadoes. There wouldn't be anything huge, per se. I mean, given the fact, yes, we do have, let's see, let me actually hop back over to this page. Given the fact that we do have, out of the whole system, as storms are firing off, the strongest wind shear will be across like Illinois and Indiana, which right here for late Monday, early Tuesday. Our strongest jet stream is across some of those regions there. And of course, if we overlay the instability, there is enough instability there, but our mid-level winds are very weak here, which I think that could really hurt any development with these storms trying to fire off here. Let me grab a sounding. I guess we'll grab one out there towards like northern, kind of north central Illinois here. Kind of in that heavier jet and all that stuff. So, okay. Gotcha. So this one does have the winds pointing in the right direction to get tornadoes, which I think there will probably be a pretty low tornado threat. Probably I wouldn't say anything more than a 2%, but we do got a few. Let's say our winds are pointing north, which we have that that northerly lower level jet there. Pretty weak on the other hand, though. And of course, as we go up in the atmosphere, the winds do change directions. But once again, most of the winds throughout the storms internals are going to be less than 50 knots, which that's, well, not really the best. Not really the best, but given our hodograph, you can see that there is veering wind shear. So there is a directional change and a little bit of an increase in wind speeds as we go up in the atmosphere, which I think, in theory, it's possible that we could get, a couple weak tornadoes, but it wouldn't be anything like huge per se. It wouldn't be like a big tornado outbreak or anything like that. No, definitely not. So yeah, but once again, I think the main problem in given this environment here with weaker wind shear and stuff like that, believe it or not, I think damaging winds would be some of our biggest concern, because we'll have a decent amount of vertical velocity. The more mixed layer cape you have, the stronger your updrafts are usually. The stronger our vertical velocity is, given the fact that we have more steeper lapse rates and the parcels rising faster, the more unstable it is, and overall leading to more stronger vertical velocities. But well, with that factor being possible, or wouldn't be a factor, with that being possible, I should say, we'll get some pretty strong upwelling, pretty strong vertical velocities. I think is possible. And of course, with the winds, I mean, you're gonna get that updraft arced a little bit, but I feel like it's got to come back down. So that cold air that warm air, once it cools down, it's gonna sink back down and point towards the ground here, which obviously would allow for some potential gusts to occur in that downdraft. But anyways, I'm kind of shooting off pretty far, trying not to make it confusing, but I'm kind of getting too far into that, I think. What's up, Scott? Hope you're doing good, man. Glad to have you here. What's up, Tang? Hope you're doing good. Will it be tornadoes in Georgia? No, probably not. Definitely not, I don't think. Let's see. I mean, given the fact that, yeah, this system doesn't even bring enough instability to your region, plus weak wind shear, no, there will not be tornadoes in Georgia. Let's see. What's up, John, man? Fire warning, high winds. Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of red flag warnings out there for, let's see here. Yeah, for portions of like southern Iowa and portions out there towards Missouri. And of course, we got a big set of red flag warnings across these areas here for like eastern New Mexico, eastern Colorado even, southwestern, a few counties in southwestern Nebraska, western Kansas, western Oklahoma, and of course, the panhandle of Texas there. Yeah, they've been doing some pretty nasty fire conditions. And in terms of the west, got a lot of blizzard warnings going on out there. We're still seeing a continuous bombardment of snow in those upper elevations, which that's been going on for like 2 days at this point, I believe. Let me bring y'all over here to the radar view. So there's current radar. You all can see that, you know, those upper elevations have been getting hit pretty good. You know, because we do have ourselves an atmospheric river, they call it. There is one major difference with this storm system, is that quote unquote Pineapple Express. This is more of a you know, a system coming down from, you know, like Alaska, but it acts extremely similar to one, in which it actually is, you know, just continuously allowing for moisture and water vapor to go right over California, and then once it reaches the mountains, it, you know, shoots up and condenses, and then just turns into a bunch of snow. So yeah, no, they're getting a lot of snow out of there. Now we're getting a bit of rainfall. The good news is I don't think there's really any flooding threats. Let me double check on that. Don't think that there is flooding threats with this storm system. Let's see here. Hop over to our day one hydro outlook. Yeah, so we actually don't. Oh, whoops, wrong screen. Let's see here. So we actually do not have any flooding threats here for today. Let's see here. Tomorrow, excessive rainfall outlooks. Yep, nothing for tomorrow either. Day 3, yeah. So as of right now, yeah, there's no flooding risks associated with the system here, which that's good. That's good news. But of course, for our upper elevations, that's where the problem is overall. So. It's pretty crazy out there. Pretty crazy. Let's see. Sounds like I could be under a general thunderstorm risk, possibly. A lot of people are, actually. Yeah, that's what the orange is on my thumbnail. Let's see, let me bring up the SPC. So for Monday, the big risk here, or the risk day, I should say. Yeah, you can see that the thunderstorm risk goes all the way up here, pretty far up into... Obviously, ignore that last line. It goes pretty far up into like even, you know, Michigan and Wisconsin, and obviously, you know, portions of the Western Ohio Valley, portions of the Midwest, and the Southeast included. So quite a bit of thunderstorm risks, or, you know, risk for thunderstorms is possible, but the severe weather risk and severe thunderstorm risk is morely to the south. But I think, like I said, based off of the models and everything I've been looking at, I think a northeasterly expansion is possible. They might include like areas of Illinois and you know, Missouri. I think that's what they're probably going to do. So we'll just see how that's going to play out, because, you know, given the fact that we have a stronger lower level jet of at least 40 knots, which is decent, but our strong, our mid-level jet, which the winds actually don't really strengthen as we go up higher. If anything, they weaken a little bit, because our main jet stream is going to be over to the west a bit more. We're seeing, you know, 60-plus knots, which, yeah, not everything lines up. And, of course, our instability is going to be pretty far-fetched, you know, stretching up into some of these regions here, roughly, obviously. So, like I said, not everything lines up. Now, if our to improve this event, our lower level jet would need to stretch down a lot further and potentially be stronger, as well as that big jet stream needs to be pushed over more to the east, right, as all that instability is right underneath. And at that point, that's where all the ingredients would come together and would produce, you know, potentially some more severe weather. But given this case here, it's, you know, it's going to be mostly isolated severe storms, I'm thinking. Let's see here. What's up, Courtney? Hope you're doing good. Let's see, fires are here in Colorado. One with 831. Wow, crazy. Those fires have been pretty terrible. Let's see, what's the risk that they have for fires today? I know they got probably a pretty big risk out there. Yeah, critical. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, today and tomorrow. Big fire conditions. Let's see here. Due to low humidity. Lower humidity? Yeah, winds and lower humidity across the Central Plains. That's what an upgrade to critical highlights maybe needed into day one otherwise. They already did that. Yeah, so that's already available. So, but yeah, now fire threat does go pretty high up there tomorrow. Elevated fire threat, so the lowest threat for the fire risk, which it's still something to take seriously, but that moves its way more to the northeast here, coming into tomorrow. Let's see. That's big enough for an expansion, for an upgrade. The fire weather. I mean, it's definitely a little concerning. Once again, given low humidity, which if I hop back to humidity here, you can see here that we're going to have a pretty low humid zone, pretty low humidity zone. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change over to this model, and we'll zoom in towards the central U.S. here. Yeah, there we go. And let me bring up our surface. Change this over to wherever humidity is. There you go, humidity. In which, so we work way into tomorrow, and you can really see just how dry it gets. A lot of dry air across these areas here. So really low humidity in those regions. Plus, if we mix over our forecast hour 24, if we mix over our wind gusts around that time as well, you can see that. Well, if I can go down one more, there we go. Yeah, you can see our wind gusts are going to be pretty strong. I mean, we're talking 30. Mostly on average about 30 to about 30 mile per hour wind gusts or so. It's on average here. So mixing in that zone with our low humidity and strong winds is what allows for those fire conditions to get out of hand. Let's see. Anyways, I'm thinking we'll have showers and a few storms in southeast Michigan Monday night. I mean, going back over here to the models and stuff, I mean, that the instability for those storms does reach its way up into Michigan, as you can see. Now, is it a whole lot of instability? Not really, but I think it is a possibility. No, I think you are, I think you're on to something there. I think it is a possibility. So I was talking about the severe weather threat for an expansion. Yeah, I think they might pull that a little bit more to the north here, given the fact that, in the environment where that risk area is, there's pretty weak winds. Lower level winds are, let's see, we'll let that load there. Lower level winds are pretty weak, but those do increase up in these areas here. And of course, with our instability, we still have a pretty decent abundance of instability in that region there. So an expansion, I mean, I think it's a pretty good probability that an expansion into some of these regions here in the pink I just highlighted will be possible. Once again, that's not just what this model is saying either. It's a collective of the models. They are agreeing on this to an extent. So I think that at this point it's pretty good possibility. Let's see here. Kendall says, hey, just got on, was wondering if there's going to be any severe weather from Michigan. So, yeah, we were actually just talking about that. I think there'll be the possibility for a couple thunderstorms, but severe weather, organized severe weather, probably not. I mean, we have not that much instability available for you. The winds in our lower atmosphere are pretty strong, I'd say. In our mid-level atmosphere, they're stronger. I think Michigan would be included for the possibility of some, potential strong storms, but widespread severe, I doubt it, honestly. I mean, we'll see. I mean, once again, models can and frequently do change quite often. Here's HRRR, which you can see it does increase that instability out there as we approach late Monday. Which, yeah, no, we're starting to get that instability coming through here right now. So, coming up into these regions here. Let's see. When did Michigan become part of Twin Alley? Yeah, no, Michigan, they got hit by those storms a little bit ago. It's pretty wild. You guys got some pretty nasty storms. What was it, like last week that we covered? Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Let's see. Is there going to be any severe weather over Ohio? Probably not, no. Yeah, I mean, for one, let's see here. Coming up to the event, there's really not enough instability. And another thing is whatever instability that could be available might be capped out, meaning that there is a blanket in our lower atmosphere, warm layer that's preventing thunderstorms from happening. Meanwhile, other areas to the west, there's really no cap. There is no, there's no layer in the atmosphere that's preventing storms from happening. Let's see here. Most unstable cape and shear equivalent. Yeah, so once again, our instability and our wind shear are best going to meet, I think, over like Illinois and Missouri. So some of these areas here, I think, will be probably added into the risk here come maybe tomorrow, or of course the day of. I think it's a good possibility. There's gusty winds and small hail possible in the general thunderstorm. I mean, yeah, it is a possibility, but they would remain under severe limits in most cases. Mostly, what is it? Yeah, so it would be under quarter size hail, and the winds would be less than 60 or less than 58 to be exact. But what's the biggest donation I ever received? $400. Yeah, very generous. That was back when I started my channel, though, too. That was like 2 years ago or so. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And shoot, I definitely freaked out when that happened. Let's see here. They said because of how where the temperatures in Michigan might get severe weather a lot this March. Is that true? I mean, Kendall, it's possible. I mean, given the fact that it's really hard to forecast individual events here. Obviously far out. Honestly, I think it's a good possibility. I mean, considering that we've already seen early signs of that this month, or really last month into this month so far. I think it's a good possibility. Let's see here. Michigan have not had large tornadoes since 1950s. Stop in 1980s. Well, Michigan, they I think it was an EF2 they confirmed. I think it was an EF2 the other day that we had. Yeah, no, that was pretty interesting to cover. Let's see here. Yeah, so you can see here for early Tuesday, across Michigan, there is a little opening with not much. Obviously, most of Michigan's capped out because we do have that warm layer in our lower atmosphere that's slowing down our parcel and making it come to a complete stop. In this case, we do have a little opening in western side of Michigan. We have enough instability to theoretically allow for strong to maybe severe storms to occur. And our winds at that point, they're stronger. So the winds, even with a little amount of instability, and you have strong winds, that can allow for things to get done. But once again, as a big problem for this, as much of our event here is our mid-level winds, and they're pretty much on the lower side, but like 40 knot lower level jet, 40 knot mid-level jet, and about a 50 knot lower level jet. So actually, the winds as we rise, they get stronger for a brief period, then they get weaker as you continue rising up in the atmosphere. What's up, Haley? What's Alabama looking like? Alabama really not into that much problems. No, I don't think. Whenever it comes to the instability and stuff like that, there will be a window open here for actually tomorrow night. There will be some instability available, pretty decent pocket of instability over that region. But the problem is our winds, is we really have weak winds, which I don't think would allow for anything to really occur. Mid-level winds is 10 knots. I mean, that's like 20,000 feet up there. That's ridiculously low. So even the fact that we have instability, some storms, you'll probably see some big cumulonimbus towers maybe starting to develop here. But, the problem is as a parcel rises, as that warm air rises, it's not going to be arced over by the strong winds. So it's just going to be completely vertical. So as that warm air is rising, it'll cool down and it'll actually start to sink back down on the continuous up movement of the warm air. So it'll just fall on itself, turn into a pancake, and then just completely fade out. In which, that'll actually help stabilize the atmosphere and allow for more of that cooler air to reach the surface, which would prevent really much more of that from happening. Anyways, but yeah. What's up, Kathleen? Hope you're doing good. But anyways. But yeah, guys. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're talking about here. Today, I don't know if y'all heard about that, but we did have a couple of tornado warnings. I don't know if there's any confirmed tornadoes. I know there's a lot of funnel cloud reports. Let's go and hop over here real quickly. Right now, we can see that storm that's dying out there. It's actually on my backdrop here as well. There was this storm that did go tornado warned. It had multiple reports of funnel clouds on it. This is California, by the way, which is pretty interesting. But it's obviously died out for the most part since. Let me bring up mesoanalysis. I want to see what's going on with the storm here. Here we go. All right, let me hop y'all back over here. Yeah, I'm curious to see why we had that. I haven't really looked at the environment that much. Hide my camera so you guys can see a little better. So that tornado warning happened right in here, right in this area here. Instability-wise, yeah, there's like no instability. Really, there's really not much energy in our atmosphere out there. Wow, very low traces amounts of instability. I can imagine our winds are pretty strong because we're having that jet stream bring a lot of water vapor over California, which is hitting the mountains and then shooting up and into the cooler environment and condensing. Yeah, so our mid-level winds are, I mean, they're not really too crazy per se, but one of the big things is they are changing directions very rapidly, which with ever so changing wind directional environment, that could definitely allow for some spin-ups to occur. Oh yeah, look at our mid-level jet. That is honestly incredible. Over 100 knots across this area here, which that is unbelievable. Very strong mid-level jet here. So we got a lot of strong air, really sharp jet stream going over central California right now, in which is bringing, so about 19,000 feet. The winds are going about 100 knots, which is over 100 miles an hour. Which, yeah, that's pretty wild. Definitely pretty wild. Let me hop over to, yeah, the future models here. So there's that jet we were just looking at. Let me hop back to the southwest. Yeah, so there's, let's see, what current time is it? Today is, what, the 2nd? Okay, let's go up to, it is 02 Zulu, so we're right around this time period. So yeah, you can see how, well, California has that 209 lower level jet, or the mid-level jet, sorry. How high is the mountains go in California? You guys know that? Did any of you guys know? I'm not too familiar with altitude up in California in terms of those mountains. Let me look that up, actually. Let me pull that up real quickly, and let me see what we're looking at there. Because I know there's a lot of strong winds that's occurring out in those upper elevations. Let's see here. Okay, here is a map. Okay, so some of them go up to, like, what? 10,000 feet, I think. Obviously in the Sahara. Let me open this image for you guys and I'll show you. So yeah, so you can see that the altitude here, so this is 14,000 feet. It's kind of hard to be precise on that, but well, it's safe to say that, you know, a lot of the upper, you know, the Sierra here, like, definitely seeing some strong winds. You know, given that lower level jet, that's basically reaching them at that point. So, really strong winds. You know, you got to think that we have these mountain ranges, right? And those very strong winds are pushing against the mountains and shooting up further into the air, where it's cooler up here, and all that water vapor that's shooting up is condensing and allowing the rain to start falling, or in this case, snow, actually, in those mountain tops. So that's the whole whole thing about this going on here. It's pretty wild. And also, since these mountain ranges are higher, it brings us closer to our mid-level jet, which in this case is very strong, like over 100 knots, like we were talking about, which is pretty wild. Yeah, California is getting some pretty wacky weather right now. So, and you know, this is actually going to be lasting a couple days up there in California. They've already seen a couple days worth, I'm pretty sure. Let's see how much longer do we have here. Let me bring the southwest. Hopefully this thing will load eventually. Southwest. Hide my camera again. So, yeah, so obviously they're getting that. It looks like things will start to improve by late March 3rd. So late tomorrow. But, yeah, obviously between today and, well, tomorrow, things are going to still be pretty snowy. Yeah, they've been getting pounded up there. Yeah, there's definitely some areas that's going to be seeing well over 100 inches of snowfall. I think I heard somewhere like 10 to 15 foot of snow is a possibility. Like, that is extreme. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be there. Honestly. Yeah, I really wouldn't want to be there. That's, yeah, at that point, that's just ridiculous. Anyways, y'all. Well, we are getting closer to an hour, my friends. So I think here soon we're probably going to roll off here. Just wanted to do that quick little update video or live stream with you guys. Tomorrow, I'm thinking about making a video. So I don't know about a live stream tomorrow. I'll think about it. I mean, I might go live and make a video tomorrow, but it just depends on a lot of things. So we'll see. But yeah. Yeah, we're going to probably head off here pretty soon. Let's see here. What's up, Angelina? Hope you're doing good. Let's see here. Tang says, am I slight risk for some reason? I thought a tornado was hitting my house in gusty wind, small hail. That's why. That's what I heard, and a slight risk. What? You thought a tornado was hitting your house while you're in the slight risk? Oh, gotcha. Well, that's, yeah, it's not very good. Not very good. Samuel, hold the zip codes for now. We're going to do this tomorrow. Yeah, I will do a live stream tomorrow night, and we'll do zip codes tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll have a breakdown on tornado and damaging wind and hail probabilities. So tomorrow we'll do zip code forecast for you guys. But yeah, not tonight. Not tonight, because, well, obviously, you know, no breakdown for one. Plus, there still is a bit of uncertainty that needs to be worked through. But yeah, well, until then, we're gonna hold the zip code forecast here. But we are probably gonna head off here pretty soon, my friends. Alrighty. But once again, y'all, if you haven't already, consider subscribing, leaving a like. It'd be greatly appreciated. Once again, thank you all for being here. And once again, we'll go over the convective outlook real quick, and then we're going to head off here. So once again, here for tomorrow. Sorry, Monday. Yeah, Monday's today. Right now, they have a marginal level 1 threat for the potential of severe weather out there in eastern Texas, eastern Oklahoma, central western Arkansas, all of Louisiana for the most part, and portions of southwestern Mississippi. Now, like I said, I think that they're going to extend that a bit more to the north for possibly areas like, you know, mostly Missouri and Illinois, I'd say, considering that we still have a nice abundance of instability out there, plus the strongest lower level jet will be in place across those regions. So I believe, I really do think that we will have a marginal expansion. I don't think it's going to be anything massive. Once again, I don't think this is going to be like a big tornado outbreak or anything like that, or, you know, anything like along that standards. But instability alone, if we had a higher shear environment, I think it could be a pretty big outbreak. But in this case, don't get me out of context here. In this case, there's lower wind shear, which I don't think is going to be anywhere near that. I think we're going to be in a pretty low-end severe weather event, but it could be fairly widespread. So, like I said, if we had stronger winds, then yeah, maybe something stronger, but the winds are a little weak in this storm. So, you know, with that the mid-level jet being across, you know, further areas to the west here, and all that. Let's see. I love your YouTube channel. I like what you do. I'd like to meet you someday. It'd be awesome. Don't chase. See with you. Wait, hold on. Don't chase with you if you're ever in Michigan. Well, I don't plan on going to Michigan, honestly. But anyways, but yeah, maybe one day, far down the line, maybe I could do like a meet and greet thing. Yeah, maybe go to like a storm chasing convention or something. Maybe tour in like Oklahoma. I've been wanting to do that for a while because they do host like storm chasing conventions out in I think it's Oklahoma, and usually Norman. They usually have it. OKC maybe, yeah, Oklahoma City. Sometimes it goes to Dallas, I've noticed. Yeah, I'd like to do that one day. I would like to do that one day. That would be pretty cool. Anyways. But yeah. So once again, y'all, we just now hit an hour. So I think we're going to roll off here for now. Now we will, once again, go live tomorrow. I'm going to try to post a video for you guys tomorrow as well. So a video will come out first, if I do, and then, of course, a live stream tomorrow. Probably do a live stream, I'm thinking a little earlier. I know I said that today, but I'm going to try to do a live stream probably around 6 or 7 tomorrow. So, obviously, a little bit earlier. I am going to do a gaming live stream tonight. If you guys want to hop over to my gaming channel, I'm probably going to play some Flight Simulator and try not to crash a few planes. So if you guys want to watch me on my gaming channel, go ahead and do so. And if you want to find my gaming channel, well, here, I'll show you. Yeah, so you should see in Nightbot, it says our gaming channel. Now it is 18 plus, obviously, because it's, you know, a little bit more of Andrew himself. Obviously, this channel I keep family friendly for obvious reasons, but my gaming channel is a little bit different. So if you guys want to check that out, here you go. Here is the link to my gaming channel. If you guys want to hop on, I'm thinking about going live here in probably about an hour and a half or so. So I'll be live around like 10:30 on my gaming channel. So I'll do some Flight Simulator, and we'll try to land some planes. And knowing me, I'm probably going to crash them very often. So if you guys want to join that, subscribe to the channel as well so that you guys can get notified and all that stuff. But but anyways, my friends, well, all right, y'all, you guys take care. Have a wonderful rest of your night, and like I said, we'll catch you tomorrow with more updates and stuff like that. And once again, if you do want to see us again tonight, we'll do in our gaming channel live stream here today, right around 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central. So I hope to see you guys there. All right. Y'all take care. Stream's heading off here in 2 minutes. Go ahead and say goodbye to your friends, family, anybody you're hanging out with in the chat. And until next time, my friends, we will catch you guys later on. Once again, thank you to Mark for the donation in the beginning of the live stream. Appreciate it. You absolutely rock, my friend. And all right, you guys take care. Have a wonderful rest of your night. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow with some more weather updates. All right, peace out, my friends. Much love to you. See you then.